I wanted to just touch on the Trey Lance thing really quick. I think the biggest difference between him and Josh Allen that I don't know if people haven't pointed out or said or whatever, is Josh Allen started like 28 games in college and threw like almost 700 passes. Trey Lance started like 16 and threw, I just had it up. It was like 288 collegiate passes versus Josh Allen's nearly 700. So to me, like, that's something that right off the bat, I'm not into Trey Lance anyways, but I don't get that.
Here's the thing, though. What's scary to me is that Kyle Shanahan recently said he would have drafted Josh Allen in 2017. If you remember, there was some noise that Allen was going to leave Wyoming after 1 year. And people were like, this guy's really good. And he decided to go back because he only had 1 year and he needed more seasoning. And he went back for no reason. The team stunk. He got hurt. But Shanahan's like, hey, if he had come out in 17, I might have thought about it. So that means he was going to spend a top pick on dude who had 373 passes and 209 completions. Maybe he's not being 100% truthful. But if that's true, then I got to feel like Trey Lance's inexperience is not a deal breaker for Shanahan the way it would be for me in round one.
Yeah, that's fair. And honestly, that's all I wanted to touch on with that, because I'm really not into Trey Lance and I don't have much to say beyond that. But I wanted to really talk about the whole Sam Darnold thing, because and I tweeted at you earlier this week a little bit about that.
Okay.
That would be the biggest disaster over this entire regime to me if they traded anything for Sam Darnold, let alone a second round pick. Yeah. Let alone a second round pick, because it's like, okay, if we're going to trade our 43rd overall for Sam Darnold, that means our top 100 picks this year are Sam Darnold and the 12th overall pick.
Yeah.
So that's just a no, like you can't do that in the first place to me. But then if you go even further into it, like Grant, the situation the Niners would be in best case scenario is that they have to accept his 5th year option, right?
Yes.
And that seems beyond realistic at this point, because it's $20 million. Like if 49er fans aren't happy with paying Jimmy Garoppolo 25 to 27 per year, they're going to be pissed when they're playing Sam Darnold $20 million next year. So that's a deal breaker to me. And then, like, I think you alluded to it earlier in this week, you're basically in the Jimmy Garoppolo situation where you have to pay a guy for a certain number of games in your system because otherwise he's going to hit the open market. So it seems like an absolutely like no-win situation to me, and it makes absolutely zero sense. Like, is there any situation where you actually see that working out? Because for me, I think best case scenario is you have to freaking pay the guy, and then you're stuck in the same situation you were in the 2017 offseason.
No, it doesn't make any sense, but it's like desperation. I think the Niners are feeling like, man, we're here at 12, but Lance is going to go top 5. Mac Jones is going to go top 8. We don't like Justin Fields, probably. What are we going to do? Are we going to take some guy at 43? I mean, we don't like anyone at 43, theoretically. My dad kind of liked Sam Darnold a few years ago. What if we try to, it's like, no. And I think that was about it. And a lot of people, you and me, smart people, made a bunch of impassioned pleas the last few weeks. And I think we made a lot of good points. And the Niners were like, all right, okay, all right, goodbye. All right, go ahead. So I was like, what are you going to do? Don't do it. And they hurt.
Yeah. Well, and just, I think like what you're saying, like you just said, they shouldn't do that. That would be a terrible option. But I'm really starting to think, and I'm hopeful that Deshaun Watson is plan A for this team. I mean, I've been banging the drum for him this offseason because I would love to have him. But I also think the 49ers are just creating a scenario where they can make it easier and easier to get him, to me, with all the cap space they're clearing, all the stuff that they've been doing in the last few weeks. None of it, like I'm sorry, if they had a quarterback they would have wanted this offseason that wasn't Deshaun Watson, they would have already made it happen or made moves to make it happen, especially if they're going to go after someone in the draft. So to me, everything points to that they're going to try and like go for a big swing with Deshaun Watson. And I feel like if it happens after the draft, it's even more in their advantage, especially with all the teams like the Miami, the Jets. They won't have that draft capital. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah. No, I agree. Real quick before I let you go, I think the way I read this is the Niners really do a good job of not leaking big moves. No one knew about the DeForest Buckner move before it happened.
Oh, yeah.
The fact that when Peter King said a high-ranking Niner, or like someone very close to the Niners said this, it's like, that makes it feel like the Niners wanted to leak this, which makes me feel like it's not their plan A. Like they're trying to float out possible plan Bs that could happen in case they don't, because they can't guarantee they're going to get Deshaun Watson. And there has to be contingencies. So they float those. And then if they come through on Watson, they're they're
the heroes.
They're the heroes. Wow,
Yeah.
my God. And if they don't, it's like, well, yeah.
And I'm just hoping that the Darnold thing was more of a favor to Robert Saleh than anything else, because man, that would be an utter freaking disaster. Like, I would reconsider being a fan at that point, because no, I'm serious, because that it would be Jimmy G all over again, but even worse. And Sam Darnold hasn't even started his 16 games in his career, right?
Ever,
not one season. So it'd be terrible.
Ben, I gotta let you go. Thanks so much for coming on, man. Always great to see you.
Good to talk to you as always, Grant.
Take care, man. Joshua says, hey, why can't Jimmy get a pay cut and we draft a quarterback? I think that's what could happen if the Niners don't cut Jimmy Garoppolo. They can go to him and be like, look, you got to take a pay cut. Otherwise, we're cutting you, and you're going to sign for what we're offering you on this pay cut, because no one's going to pay you $27 million next year. And he might just say, you know what, cut me. I don't want to be here anymore. That's the problem. Hey, Grant, love the channel. Keep up the great work. Can we get a quick update on how your dad is doing? He's back home. He's off the walker. He's using a cane. He went downstairs. He's doing much better. He's almost done with in-home therapy. He's almost good to get in the car and go to out, therapy, whatever it's called. So thanks for asking.